So how was your poop?
It's all right. And actually today, that's what I was doing.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I figured it was just a tough one to pinch off. Everything okay in there?
I think we've gone probably a year since an actual poop slowed down the show. But the narrative is we're always pooping.
Kudos to you for doing the right thing and admitting it. Everybody poops.
I confessed. I woke up late and the whole day is off.
You sound great, though.
This show's going to suck. You guys
look great.
Not smart for watching today.
We here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. And this is G. P. S. Look at us, buddy. Celebrating another Victory Monday.
Yeah. It was like kind of flip-flopped. You guys got your dominant win this week. Ours was last week.
No mustard. That is not true as of right now. Ian Rappaport said that Dable came out and basically said Tommy DeVito is still expected to start on Thursday. And he had a private conversation with Malik Neighbors about he's a competitive guy and he's going to try to get him the ball earlier. So we saw because the post game did not look so good. Giants also got blown the hell out yesterday. So
yeah. Did Neighbors say something in the post game? I didn't.
He was just very upset in the locker room because, they got their ass whooped.
Yeah, I know he had, no targets in the first half, but I think it was, the first 3 passes went to him in the second half, or he got 3 in a row. Well, no.
They're, the one team that we're going to talk about in terms of just negativity because the Giants lost 3 times yesterday. They lost their game against the Buccaneers. They lost their game with Xavier McKinney getting his 7th interception of the season. And they had to watch Saquon Barkley run for 255 yards for the Eagles in an absolute insane performance. I mean, he is just having the season of his career. So good job for Saquon Barkley. And so sorry, Giants, just for everything. But we had pandemonium this week, especially in the early slate. Holy crap, Perna. We had the Titans beating the Texans in a wild game. We had the Cowboys beating the Commanders in one of the craziest 2 minutes I have ever seen, in which you had onside kicks getting returned. You had breakaway touchdown from Scary Terry. You had to miss extra points that could have tied the game. Pandemonium. You had the Chiefs and the Panthers. Ooh, that came down to the wire as well. Panthers, they are not playing like the worst team in the NFL these past couple of weeks. So I'm very happy for Bryce Young right now. So Chiefs, it's a close one. Close one. Oh, and of course, the Bears and the Vikings going into overtime. We're talking about that too. Talking about that one also.
No, you don't. You don't need to say any more than Saquon Barkley.
Buddy, you sound terrible. Do you feel that bad too?
I don't feel great, but.
And you still streamed yesterday?
Yeah. Got the video up. Nearly killed me, but I'm paying for it right now.
Yeah. Is it just, you think it's still just a cold?
Gonna
go to the doctor?
Could be a lot of things at this point.
Laryngitis?
Might have turned into that.
Do you feel crap in your chest?
Oh yeah.
Have you taken some Mucinex?
Oh yeah.
You've taken it. Okay. Oh shit. Is it bronchitis?
I don't know.
Is bronchitis? You gotta get that checked out, buddy. Do you feel like a lot of pressure in your chest?
No pressure.
Okay. A lot of congestion?
Yeah.
Okay. You might want to go get checked out, buddy, because you don't want to turn into pneumonia or nothing.
No, I don't.
No.
Well, you sound like Jess.
Listen, I'll steer us, buddy. I got you. I'll steer us.
Try and talk as little as possible.
No, that's why I will steer this whole damn ship, and I'll turn to you for anything. Well, let's pull up some games here. It was great. First of all, let's talk about the Broncos. It was a little bit of an ugly game against the Raiders, but were able to get it done. You swept the Raiders. It's been a while. Isn't this your first win against them in Las Vegas?
Yep. In the Roomba, first Roomba win.
There you go. That's a big time win. And listen, Broncos are starting to get that publicity bit by bit. Still in control of their own destiny. How you feeling after yesterday? You can give it to me in like a word or two.
I think Andrew's onto something, guys. I think that's the way to go. Yesterday's win was ugly, but in the good way.
Giants?
It's an ugly, just necessary win where Denver didn't play their best football. It's a division game. They hung around. Cortland Sutton carried Denver for most of the game. Sutton and Devon Vele, both really nice games. But like the Raiders to me, it reminded me a little bit of that Cowboys game where Denver should have won, I think, a little more defiantly, handily. But the Raiders showed up to play. And it was a lot of guys on Vegas making individual efforts. I think there was like 3 or 4 batted passes at the line. I think Bo Nix has one of the higher rates of passes being batted down at the line of scrimmage. Max Crosby was all over the place. We didn't have Zach Allen on our defensive line, and you could see the difference, at least in the first half of the game. And Minshew was playing well. He was playing like, Colts, Gardner Minshew, safe, smart with the football. So it was like, I thought
true.
Denver might score some touchdowns in the first half. I'd be comfortable.
Yeah.
Just coast. But they had to fight. They had to fight back into it. And it's one of those weird games too, where they had to settle for a lot of field goals. 5. Lutz made all 5, a couple 50-yarders. And when you kick 5 field goals and you get 15 points, it's like 2 touchdowns. You don't like to get to 15 that way, but
sure.
They figured out a way to win. And I'm not more impressed with this victory than I was with Atlanta, but I like what the team did. And they also lost Riley Moss in this game. And that was a big issue, I think, for the defense. Like the Raiders really were dinking and dunking it all around. And we didn't have answers for guys like Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker and fucking Amir Abdullah. And like, why are all these guys making so many plays?
Yeah.
But they figured it out and finished the game with 5 sacks. Unfortunately, Gardner Minshew broke his collarbone.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like that crazy of a hit. He just fell awkwardly on his shoulder. And I hate to see that to my sexual spirit football god. Never want to see that man go down. So, and now the Raiders are without AOC moving forward. No Gardner.
Maybe Daniel Jones. Come on down.
Gus Bradley's kid, Carter Bradley. Like, you better go into tank mode, Raiders. They should have done it last year. And we mentioned this in the recap last night.
Yeah.
The Raiders beat the Broncos in the final week last year, which gave us the draft pick ahead of them. That looks pretty big right now with Bo Nix and the way he's playing. Like,
I mean, they got Bowers, who's been the best part of their offense basically all season.
Yeah,
but
I don't care.
Yeah.
We got PS2 5 years ago, and it's still been hard.
Yeah. Oh, Josh Jacobs is a monster. I mean, you also bring it down. It's a division game, right? Like these divisional games, I feel like especially this season have been extra crazy.
Sure.
In which you could see a team look dominant and then get, either it's a dogfight or they wind up losing that game. I mean, hell, the Vikings fans were making fun of the Packers last week for it to come down to a blocked field goal, and then they went into overtime.
Yeah.
So, the
that's why you got to be careful what you make fun of in sports.
Especially when you're playing them the next week.
You might want to hold back.
Josh Jacobs had 3 touchdowns, had the hat trick yesterday. Don't want to talk about the Packers.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was so glad Josh Jacobs wasn't playing for the Raiders yesterday.
Hell yeah.
Honestly. I think he might have been the difference in the Raiders' favor.
Yeah. I think the Broncos, again, still in control of their own destiny. I want to talk about that Chiefs game real quick, just while we're sticking with the AFC West, because the Chiefs, I got to shout out the Panthers, man, because Bryce Young, these past few weeks, has been looking good. He's been playing better. Obviously, had a bye week, but been playing better. And yesterday, I really feel like putting it together in terms of, okay, like hold the phone right this second. maybe they got something here. And I know the Panthers are a beat up team, but I put out a video of just like the worst teams in the league a couple weeks ago. And the Panthers were the worst one. They had the worst defense. They had literally 32 in every category. They had one of the worst offenses. And they seem like they're starting to get into a rhythm right now, even with, a lack of significant talent on the offensive side of the ball. But they turn around and to go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes took the game into his own hands at the end and just had that huge scramble. But, man, I gotta give the Panthers some props.
Carolina did something crazy in that game, I thought. The Chiefs were in the red area. They got the Panthers committed 2 penalties. They were justified penalties, okay? I'm not saying they were bad penalties. But the Chiefs got, a new set of downs twice. And the Panthers were able to hold them to a field goal still. I think that the Chiefs got knocked back with 1 penalty as well. But, you don't see teams stop the Chiefs that many times that close to the end zone from scoring a touchdown. And that's more of a compliment for, the Panthers, their defense and what they're doing. And I think, we're just not going to see the Chiefs, blow any team out. This is just how they're playing football this year. That's
at least for
doesn't
right
matter
now,
who they're playing. It's every game is close. And it's weird to watch the Broncos beat the pants off the Panthers, to have their first really good game this season against Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay took the Chiefs into overtime, and, the Panthers had them close. I'm the one who knocks.
Listen, parents just start making meth, so shout out to the Panthers. But I feel like with the Chiefs, because there was a little bit of doom and gloom of are the Chiefs going to drop a bunch of more games? And the problem is their schedule is not a walk in the park, and especially because they got a whole bunch of divisional games left.
Yeah.
So those divisional games have been really close, right? Even with the Raiders, it was pretty close. The Chargers one, I think, was pretty close too. And then, of course, the Broncos came down to a block field goal. So I don't think there's any gimmies in terms of what the rest of their schedule looks like. And considering the way they've been playing, again, I think they'll be better when Pacheco comes back and all that. But yeah, I think that offense just definitely needs an injection of some healthy guys and also some more talent. But again, when they get to the postseason, all bets are off. All bets are off.
Yeah, and the Chiefs they're kind of just replacing Travis Kelce with Noah Gray at this point. So they'll have 2, valuable tight ends in the postseason. And Kelce had kind of a slow first half of last season as well. But then he was really good in the playoffs for Kansas City. I expect all that shit to happen again. That game was so stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing and beautiful.
We want to talk about that one? I want to talk about the Titans game first,
because
because
let's talk about
there's
Will Levis.
Bunch of craziness. Will Levis, who got sacked 7 times in the first half, and still they went into halftime up 3. They hit a big old field goal right before half. Only got sacked 1 more time in the second half. And the thing is, how crazy that game was. First of all, shout out Will Levis. But 2, the Strouds had it. They score the touchdown. They go to kick the extra point. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was a field goal. I apologize. Now I'm messing up the Commanders because both missed kicks. They go to set up a chip shot of a field goal, and Fairbairn's been great, and he freaking just whiffs it. And so then they get the ball back, and CJ Stroud steps out of bounds or steps out of the back of the end zone, and it's a freaking safety. The Texans, we've been talking about them for a few weeks, that they just have not looked like the dominant team that a lot of people anticipated. And I know their offensive line, definitely not great. But damn, it was a bit crazy to see the Titans pull that game out, because I just kept waiting. And I was like, okay, CJ Stroud had a couple bad throws. I just kept waiting for them to come back. I was like, okay, they're going to kick this field goal. They'll go into overtime, and then it'll be fine. But no. And shout out to the Titans for getting it done, because they're another team. Someone mentioned that the majority of the games that they have left are freaking divisional games for the Titans. Yeah. So who knows? We've seen the Titans blow the number 1 spot in the AFC South. We saw the Jaguars do it last year. Maybe we're going to see the Texans do it this year. Ooh. Maybe it's just cursed. It's just.
Well, I love CJ Stroud. But if you start studying the Dan Orlovsky school of stepping out of bounds, the Jimmy G school of stepping out of bounds in the back of the end zone, that is it's a recipe for disaster, CJ. And I know Orlovsky breaks down quarterbacks now, but don't listen to him talk about quarterbacks and then go, let me go study his game. And then go, I'm going to do the same shit, because it doesn't work.
No,
how many sacks did the Texans finish with?
Stroud got sacked 4 times. Levis got sacked 8 times.
He got sacked 8. So just 1 in the second half.
Correct. That's what I said. Yeah. So like they limited, because dude, it was 7 times in the first half.
It was insane.
Like he was and again, the defensive line, the pass rush from the Texans has been really good this year. But holy crap, man. And I don't, for the Texans, their remaining schedule. So right now they're sitting at 7-5. The Titans are at 3-8. Let's see their schedule for the rest of the year.
Yeah. And, Tony Pollard had a great game for Tennessee finally.
Yeah.
That was a difference maker. And we've seen Nick Westbrook-Akini score touchdowns like every week for like 3 weeks.
Last week, that super long one.
Yeah.
Okay. So the remaining schedule for the Texans here. So they got the Jaguars, should be a winnable game. They got the Dolphins. I think that's going to be a tough game. Then they got the Chiefs on the 21st. Then they got the Ravens, and then they got the Titans. So they got 3 games here in the stretch. The Dolphins, the Chiefs, and the Ravens. That's going to be tough. So it depends. The Colts got dog walked yesterday, but shout out to the Colts at least for limiting the Lions at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson didn't have a bad game. It's just going to look really bad on the scoreboard, but
the Colts played like a good first quarter, right?
They play. I mean, again, they held him to 24. That's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
But Richardson, 11 for 28, 172. Also didn't get sacked. But he was their leading rusher. Jonathan Taylor had 35 yards. So it's going to be tough. They were not a balanced football team.
Yeah, Colts got to be able to run the ball more effectively. I saw this funny thing happening with Anthony Richardson yesterday online. Because what was his final completion percentage? It was pretty bad, right?
11 for 28.
How much? 11 for 28?
Richardson, yeah.
Yeah, so 39.
So,
and there were
some bad drops. There were some really bad drops.
There were 2 bad drops in that game. There was a drop a week before where it bounced off Michael Pittman's face or whatever. Okay, give him those 2 catches. One's probably a touchdown. Fair enough. That looks better. That's putting him at 45%. You know what I mean? Like, it's still not good. It's not like he's got this group of ball catchers leading the league in drop passes by some astronomical mark.
Don't worry, that's the Packers.
And he, for whatever reason, he's this weird quarterback who the farther he throws the football, the better he throws it. The more the thing that is the hardest thing to do is the easiest thing for him. And it's got to be about efficiency. It's got to be about those intermediate and short passes getting better for Anthony Richardson, because we've seen the deep passes, and when he runs, he's not just a threat running. Like he'll bulldoze a dude.
Sure.
He'll drop his shoulder. I think he rocked Brian Branch in that game. Like he dropped his shoulder and hit Branch. So if he can just get a little bit better at those 2 other things, like he's going to be a pretty good quarterback. And
I think it's compared to the earlier part of the season. I think that this was definitely not his worst game. And again, he turned the ball over. So that's solid. Not throwing picks, but to go up against one of, if not the best team in the NFL right now, I think it's more of just the loss wasn't completely on Richardson yesterday. I think that's what kind of
that's fair. It's not to say he's playing this terrible football, but there is a significant thing that he's not doing well.
Sure.
But I saw a lot of people trying to defend it yesterday early in the game. Don't talk to me about his completion percentage when these are his incompletions.
Sure.
That's fine. If he finished that game with
a couple,
a couple more fucking completions, I'd buy into it.
Exactly. Perna got a fitting.
We ride and we die together.
I feel like that's very appropriate for today.
Yeah. But, and the Lions just continue to beat teams pretty much on every level.
Yeah.
Their offense is great.
They're suffering more injuries, though. Holy crap, man. They can't get out of that. They gotta watch out for the injury bug. But, yeah.
Who got hurt in this game?
Yeah,
I know
Monty got
Montgomery left, but people said he came back.
Yeah, Decker got banged up in that game.
Taylor Decker did.
Yeah, they just got, again, this is the part of the season. I mentioned this yesterday. If teams are doing well, you just got to pray that you remain healthy. Like, even for the Packers, Romeo Doubs, like, he got a concussion yesterday, that knocked him out of the game.
Yeah, it's the Riley Moss injury for the Broncos. Same thing. Like, it looked bad. And you don't want to say, we've seen a couple knee injuries look really bad this year. And the guys got away, with the best case scenario. It was week 1 with Jordan Love, right? So that's what I'm hoping when I saw the way Riley Moss's knee got rolled up on. And then after the game, we got some good news that it appears that he avoided serious injury. And there are teams like the Lions who have a lot of depth, right? So they have figured out ways to win without Aiden Hutchinson. The Broncos do not have that same kind of depth right now.
Sure.
We're lucky to get the performance we're getting out of a lot of players.
Yeah.
We've hit on some draft picks. There's been some great contributors like Malcolm Roach and Brandon Jones. But if they lost Riley Moss and then they got to play the Bengals, they got to play the Chargers and the Chiefs again down the stretch, like that could cost them their playoff spot. So
Correct.
It's going to be, when can he get back to help this football team? The Lions, you look at a little differently. Like, they can get through missing a guy for a week or two, but yeah, you don't want to lose any of those guys for the rest of the season at this point. And a week ago, it was Alex Anzalone. They lost. So I pray for the Lions to stay healthy, because if they do, this really feels like it is their year.
I agree.
To go to the Super Bowl and actually win that shit.
They might be able to. Hey, Christina, thanks for most listened podcast in 24 GPS. Let's go, baby.
Nice.
Let's go.
Yes.
Oh, Nathan, we ready. We ready for that Thanksgiving football. Speaking of craziness, let's talk about that Commanders-Cowboys game. Legitimately might be one of the most wild 2 minutes I have seen in a hot minute. So, moral of the story, Commanders wind up losing that game. But it starts off already ridiculous. You got a blocked field goal in the very beginning. Let me just zoom in here. I want to just do this. Axel, they might. I mean, again, but the thing is, there has to be a team that steps up in the AFC South. Is that going to be the Colts? Is that going to be the Titans? I don't know if it's going to be the Titans. And they have a lot of divisional games left. So I don't know. Because I'm not worried about their I don't think they'd make a wild card spot, but I think they're still going to win the division. Look at the first few drives already. Block field goal, miss field goal, fumble. That's how the game started for the Cowboys and Commanders, right? And Aubrey, missed field goals. That doesn't happen very often. But then you have this absolute lunacy in which you have a touchdown here. So Cowboys look like they're going to win this game. It's 20-9. Then they wind up rallying on back, 20-15. They score. That's great. All great. They get the 2-point rocking Jayde Daniels. Then, as soon as they pull within 3, they kick the ball off, and Turpin does a spin move before there's any contact, and then is like, oh, that worked, and took off running because he knows that he is insanely fast. So he gets a touchdown. You're like, okay, 10-point game. This game's probably over. But then they make it to 3. They hit like a 51-yarder. It was a really nice kick. They get the ball back. Scary Terry gets an 86-yard touchdown in just an abysmal performance by the Cowboys defense. They go to hit the extra point to tie the game, and they miss it. So then they got to kick an onside kick, which the Cowboys return for a touchdown instead of just catching it and running out the clock. And then they have a one Hail Mary attempt, and they wind up throwing an interception.
Yeah.
But holy crap, just the ending sequences in that game were wild. Micah Parsons, he had a great day. He was constantly getting after Jayde Daniels. There's a lot of pressure on him. And for the Commanders, a lot of people are going, are they frauds? I feel like I've been talking about them for a bit, and you and I have been talking about on GPS. Yeah. I feel like this is just them coming back down to earth a little bit, because heading into this season, their big concern was their defense, right? In which, like, hey, probably not going to be that great. I think you start to see, like, where the flaws in the team are. And I still think they're a good team, but maybe kind of outperforming a bit. And Cliff Kingsbury, Cardinals fans looking at him going, first time? They've seen this before. Let's work on it.
There's this thing with Cliff Kingsbury, right, where they're talking about opposing defensive coordinators figure him out halfway through the season, and he doesn't adjust appropriately, that he doesn't change how he calls plays in certain situations. And maybe that's true. I think, like, we're watching these rookie quarterbacks, and it was working with Klingonberry. It was working with old Klingonberry and Jayde Daniels early in the season. I think they can grow it and figure it out. But I think it's the difference between right now a guy like Sean Payton and what he's done through his NFL career as a play caller and what he's doing with Bo Nix, where we're not seeing like this significant drop off right now, or Bo's also not playing through an injury. And I think that really makes it hard to evaluate is Jayde Daniels' injury. But we'll see if it's true. It's funny how fast it changes too, because Kingsbury was being used as the guy the Bears should have hired for, Caleb Williams. And now Kingsbury's the guy that's starting to hold Jayde Daniels back. We don't know what's true. Like, we'll see.
Yeah. I mean,
he doesn't have the proven track record, and he got a guy he really liked in Kyler Murray in Arizona. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
I think they're going to be okay. We'll kind of see, because the NFC is going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. I mean, the Packers, they have a great record, and they're still third in their division because the NFC North is wild right now. But yeah, I think it's just a little bit coming back down, and we'll see if they're going to still be able to punch their ticket to the postseason. And yeah, Saquon Barkley, monster. Just a bit. Yeah, so this actually, Kai has a good question here. Yes, the Bills can actually clinch the division.
Yeah.
They can do it. So I think, I'm just double checking here. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Lead second place. 2 results go a certain way this week. They'll extend an advantage to 5 games mathematically. So I think the Dolphins, if the Dolphins lose to the Packers and the Bills beat the 49ers on Sunday night, they clinch. So there you go. There you go, Bills. You can get it done. Ooh, I don't know about, I think different skill sets for Bo Nix and Drew Brees. But
I got you. Yes, I do.
You think so?
Hold on.
Okay, we'll hold on.
But,
yeah, look at the freaking Bills, man. Everyone talk about the Jets again, including me. That did not. Oh, hold on, Perna. While you pull that up, did you see that Joe Douglas, because Woody Johnson came in with a helicopter and he landed at practice, and Joe Douglas like, oh, this is it. It's been a good run, joking about it. And then he got pulled off the field and wound up getting fired.
No.
Yep.
So, that's how he went out?
Woody Johnson lands his helicopter, and they're like, oh, all right, if I get it, this is it. And then, gone. Gone.
Do I think he can be that field general? Yeah, I do. Basically, he's better than all of these other quarterbacks already. Mahomes, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers. Pretty good company.
Yeah, I'd say.
2 straight games. No turnovers for the Broncos offense.
Hey, Jordan Love didn't throw an interception yesterday. That's right.
All right, Love. You're back, baby.
The 49ers dropped one, but it's okay. We're not going to talk about that. It's fine.
You're so back, Jordan.
Yeah, so back. We'll talk about the Packers. I want to stick with the NFC North because the Bears and the Vikings went into overtime. And I got to say now, for the second week, Caleb Williams looked really good. Yeah. Caleb did make one very bad mistake in overtime. He took a sack, which even just looking at that play, it doesn't even look like it makes sense, because he has a lot of time. And then there's one person coming at him and he's just like, all right, I guess I'm going to just fall here. It didn't look good, but
he held the ball for an eternity.
Way too long. Like, you got to run out and throw that ball away, if anything, my friend. Just live to, and again, he's a rookie, right? So you're going to kind of see this, but it's just frustrating because Caleb puts together another good game besides that play. They come back, they rally back in that game against the Vikings to force overtime. It was good field goal vibes because they kicked the field goal as time expired to go. And I was like, oh my God, if this gets blocked again, I'm going to die laughing because the Vikings blocked a field goal earlier in that game.
Yeah. There was like 2 or 3 more blocked kicks yesterday.
Yep.
We were seeing block kicks at an all-time high.
But the Bears are playing tough, which is what you want to see. And Bears fans, I think, are concerned because if they are close enough, they might keep Eberflus, which I pray they do. I pray they're like, no, we need to lose a little bit more decisively, just so we can fire our head coach.
Yeah, well, that's tough, right? Like, we don't know how. I mean, I think if you're the general manager, you have to figure out the vibe of the locker room and how the players feel about Eberflus when you're trying to make that decision, because they made a change at offensive coordinator, right? The Bears, they brought in their passing game coordinator. They elevated him. I like that. And it's made a difference for Chicago. And so it's like, okay, maybe we found the next guy we actually want calling plays for Caleb Williams, and keeping that play caller for Caleb, if we believe in him, isn't a bad thing to have that consistency going into next season.
Yeah.
And I know that's a crazy thing to say because we're like, they fucked up by keeping Eberflus and everything for this season with Caleb Williams. It's not as clear cut of a decision as we might think, because we also got all those rumors, like the players don't like Eberflus either.
Yeah.
They wanted, and it was probably just one player saying something. But also, there's going to be so many head coaching vacancies at this rate this offseason. And what was the last one where there was like 9 vacancies? Was that 2022? And like none of those coaches worked out. That was like the Hackett round. And like you go back and you look and it's like fired. Yeah. If the Bears have to compete to get great coaches, like that's tough too. But that's probably going to be every offseason. So I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, Caleb, 32 for 47, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. And
like, he had a good, and he was their leading rusher too.
Yeah.
He ran 33 yards, which is garbage. They need to run the ball better. I know the Vikings have a good defense, but I mean, damn, man, Caleb is playing well. And you could, because I watched a good chunk of that game live, and you could see like there's some of the throws he made. Odunze had some great catches too. It was that
throw where Caleb's running towards the sideline and he just launches it, drops a dime like 35 yards downfield. It was great.
So like
that's
the talent is there.
Excited back like in October or late September, whatever, when he was on his run.
Listen, I mean, the one time I want the Bears to actually win, and they can't pull it off. So,
wow,
Bears, typical Bears.
I know the Packers, 3rd place, 8-3.
Yeah, like what the hell, man? Just start losing, Vikings.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to hear nothing. At least we beat them in regulation. Okay, all right, just saying. But talking about the Green Bay Packers,
I like the way Green Bay won. I like the way they won. I was falling off the Packers bandwagon. Now I'm climbing back on.
Just bit by bit by bit.
Mistake-free football from Love. Needed to see it.
One should have been
game solid. All right.
But yeah, he had a pretty good game. But Josh Jacobs, they ran the ball, had 3 touchdowns, and the defense forced 3 takeaways. The pass rush is there. And I want to be very clear too, right? The 49ers were banged the hell up coming into this. No Brock Purdy, no Nick Bosa, no Trent Williams, right? So I'm very aware of the team that was in front.
So they're 3 most important players, basically.
Correct. I'm very aware of the team that was in front of them. But the Packers, and as we've seen throughout the league, there are teams that play down a competition, and there are teams where sometimes it is a very close game. And this was close for a bit. And then the fourth quarter, they kind of ran away with it. But allowing just one touchdown to George Kittle, CMC did nothing. This is like the third week in a row where he really hasn't done a lot. And I don't know if there's like cause for concern, but the 49ers, I mean, I don't want to be like, oh man, but I feel like it's done for the 49ers because I feel like just a combination of their injuries, where they have plenty of them, the combination of the opponents that they've lost to, because if they're not going to win their division because they've already lost to all three of their division rivals so far, and now they just lost against the Packers, who they would be competing with for a wild card spot, it just seems like it might be too late for the 49ers, and their offseason heading up is going to be interesting to say the least. They got to figure out what the hell they're going to do at quarterback. They got to figure out what they're going to do with a bunch of players. It's going to be a time. And speaking of the NFC West, because the Seahawks won yesterday against the Cardinals, it's total crap show. Like, if the 49ers were playing like they were last year, they'd be running through this division, right? And it'd be fine. But I think it's a combination of just a litany of things. Their new defensive coordinator, after they wanted one so bad, is not working out well. So maybe the Seahawks win it. Who knows?
The NFC West,
that terrible,
feels like the division where the division winner is going to lose in the wild card round of the playoffs right now.
It sounds about right, yeah.
I thought the Rams could put it together, but then they got their asses kicked by the Eagles last night. Just dominated by Saquon Barkley. I don't care who it is. You can't give up 255 rushing yards and expect me to believe in you. Okay.
The offense couldn't do anything either. And again, shout out. I saw Brandon Graham. He's out for the year, which sucks
for the Eagles.
He had a really good night. He's been having a good season.
Never want to lose a Brandon. I always, a little part of me hurts worse.
That's true. But Graham, that definitely sucks. But that D-line, Stafford was like running for his life. Like, he was getting popped last night. So, I mean, NFL, maybe. I mean, Cardinals fans will tell you yes. But continue. Sorry, Brandon.
No, I think like it's, and I had written off the Seahawks.
Yep.
Pun intended, Gino. Pun intended there, Gino. But they can make a push. But to me, they kind of feel like the AFC South. Who's gonna win that division? They're probably gonna get beat, not with ease, but they just don't feel like they can compete at the level they're going to need to go into the playoffs. But we'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. Seattle, Arizona could change my mind. I don't think the Niners can, and I don't think the Rams can. And they've got arguably more talent on those rosters right now, but the Niners, they're all hurt. LA, it's like they're kind of putting it together, it feels like, for next season. They've got to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they got to do.
I mean, it was a tough game for the Rams last night. It was definitely the turnovers. It was not.
They
fun.
need elite talent up front for Stafford.
Agreed. Very agreed. Giants, yeah, you're just going to have a bad time. What do they need to do? Revamp that offense, get an offensive line, get a quarterback. I don't think Daboll's a problem there. Shane might be. Yeah, I think the Giants need a lot of help. I mean, they were showing it on Red Zone yesterday that like halfway through the fourth quarter, people are just leaving in droves. I mean, you have Tommy DeVito starting, who I don't think anybody anticipated doing really well. You know, because the team that he beat last year, though, who was it, Brandon? The Green Bay Packers, because of course. So, and that's also why sorry to bounce back to the Packers for a hot second. We gave Bryce Young best game of like his career last year. We lost to Tommy DeVito. That's why I'm very thankful to beat the San Francisco 49ers, because there are no gimmies.
And you beat them by a lot of points.
Yeah. 28 points. You know, we take that.
Take it.
We take that. I mean, crisp, it ended last week, but I mean, again, they are still they're well coached. You know, Mahomes, while is not playing like usual Patrick Mahomes, he's still good. They're making it work. So the way that I'm looking at the Chiefs is it doesn't matter how they finish. And I really mean this, because even if they don't get the 1 seed, even if they are a wild card team, I don't think it really matters because they're a different team in the postseason. And like the amount of experience that they have in the postseason trumps every other team that's going to be there and just winning. And recently too, that it doesn't matter. So of course they would like to win more games and they got some tough matchups coming up, divisional games and stuff like that. But ultimately January is going to be what matters for that team.
I think you gotta think about two things when you're game planning for the Chiefs, right? You have your game plan for the first 58 minutes. How do we scheme against this team? What are the matchups we need to try and eliminate?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to go and you got to look at what they do in the last 2 minutes of every football game, both on their defense and their offense. Like, how do you stop them then? And I think teams, they get close against Kansas City and then they just shit the bed. Whether they need you're just never going to stop that offense if they have the ball last. You got to figure out how to stop them when they have the ball last. If you're a defensive coordinator, I think a lot of defensive coordinators start to play it safe or whatever, and they give up too many big plays. A reason their offense hasn't produced this year as well is their offensive line has given up more pressures. Mahomes has taken more sacks. That just never seems to happen on the final drive. So figure out what to do differently in those last 2 minutes, and maybe you got a chance against Kansas City. Like, I think if you want to credit like Andy Reid and Spags, like what they do to close out games is insane.
Yeah.
And guys just play. Their team doesn't start making mistakes at the very end of games. It's why they blocked that field goal against the Broncos. Like, they knew they had a mismatch and they exploited it. It's infuriating.
I think, so Coach, I just looked this up. So if the Chiefs beat the Raiders and Broncos lose to the Browns, they clinch just a spot. If the Chiefs beat the Raiders and the Dolphins lose to the Packers, they clinch a spot. The Dolphins tie the Packers and Chiefs beat the Raiders. Yeah. So it looks like they can also just clinch a spot this week too. So we're already starting to talk about it. We only got, obviously we have tonight to play. We got 6 games left. That's it. We're starting to get into the nitty gritty of the season. Yeah. It's true. Really they can't even tank right. They can't even tank right. I mean, that's the thing too. Like, Cowboys fans are like, wow, what a crazy game. But yeah, is it going to help you in the long run?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's what the Giants are clearly doing.
Yeah.
They are tanking. And I never say that about a team because I don't think you really start. Most NFL teams don't go that let's just lose until it's like the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Sure.
Maybe. Giants starting Tommy DeVito over Drew Lock. That's like, we do not want to win games. They do not think Tommy DeVito is better than Drew Lock. They don't.
Baker Mayfield yesterday.
Yeah. An anti-Italian.
There you go.
Motherfucker. Baker, I swear to God. Mocking my heritage.
Hey, let's go. Oh,
or is it a food? Is it a food take? A baker has no respect for the chef that makes the cutlets.
Well, listen, he can bake cookies. We know from Scripted, so he can definitely do that. I'm very sorry to hear that.
I thought Baker's hands were going to fall off when he was doing that.
It was very aggressive. It was very, very, very aggressive. But Baker's also a psychopath.
Yeah, I love Baker.
He's
one of my favorite quarterbacks
who have helmets on. He doesn't have his helmet on. Like, Baker is a nutbag in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And talking about the Buccaneers.
Dude, guys love playing with Baker.
Yeah, of course. He's a baller.
OBJ.
That's it. We'll see, Crawl.
Yeah. Baker's touchdown where he dove in, took the shot, and that's when he did the thing.
Yep.
Love it. And they got Mike Evans back.
He's a baller.
And Bucky Irving. Just keep handing him the ball, Tampa Bay.
The Buccaneers, again, like looking at the South, I know that they're behind right now and they got swept by the Falcons, but that's the team I'm kind of believing in terms of consistency. We'll see if the Saints are going to be able to continue it too. Like, they're kind of an interesting team right now since they got, the Riz factor. But I don't know, man. The Buccaneers are just playing despite all the issues that they got and injuries.
This is my boomstick.
They're rocking. I saw that. Yep. They're hiring, what is it, like the 33rd team or whatever to go find themselves a new GM. Oh, Jets.
Considering Sam and Steve were kind enough to join the show, and the 33rd team is the umbrella they work under. I think this is a really smart thing for the Jets to do.
There you go.
It was funny because I was talking to Sam and I was like, who runs the 33rd team? And he was like, Mike Tannenbaum. And I was like, oh, really?
You're like, oh, wow, that's some interesting facts.
I was like a week after we'd made the
put up the video about
roasting him.
It's true.
It was a dumb take, though. Was a dumb take, Mike.
Oh, 1,000,000%. Talking about, just because we only touched on it, the Cardinals and the Seahawks game. Yeah, Cardinals offense. What the hell, man? Like, Kyler Murray got sacked 5 times. They didn't get a single touchdown. They had no run game whatsoever. They had 49 yards total. And Trey McBride was still a monster. McBride's just been fantastic this season. 133 yards, caught the ball 12 times. But good God, man. Good God. Hey, almost got it. Almost got it. Yeah, the team's done. But now, so the Cardinals are sitting at 6-6. The Seahawks are at 6-5. The NFC West is still a dumpster fire, but the Seahawks are on top of that garbage division. And you say that I think they'll lose. If Seattle winds up winning this division, being played in Seattle, the Giants beat them there, I could see them BSing a win 100%. I could see them
getting like the Packers probably.
That's kind of what I'm alluding to, and it terrifies me because the Packers are likely going to be a wild
you just don't want to play. Even if you're a completely new team, right? You don't really want to play the Seahawks in the postseason or the Niners, right? Those are 2 teams Packers don't want to play outside.
No, Cardinals either. The whole NFC West sucks for the Packers.
Yeah, I guess you had some heartbreak.
I don't like them. I don't. Yeah. I don't. Listen, that's a Perna curse. That's a Perna curse.
Hey, you use the code. It doesn't guarantee a win, Jeffrey. Mm-hmm. Dude, Javonte Williams had negative rushing yards yesterday. So I was like 37 for Javonte. I kind of like it.
Okay. Tit for tat. That's it. But this is a big win. Geno, 23 for 31, had a touchdown, had an interception, also got sacked 5 times because their O-line is terrible too. Like the Seahawks O-line is not good. They didn't really establish the run too well. They gave it to Kenneth Walker 16 times, but he got less than 50 yards. It's just, they're a weird team. And the NFC West is just, Derek, every team's in the hunt. I think the Giants will be the first one that are going to be eliminated. We'll see what that garbage team's going to be on Thanksgiving. But
the Raiders are still in the hunt.
Correct. It's a wild season. There's so many bad football teams this year.
That's a result of the extra football game. It's just like, maybe that's good because people can hold on for one more week if we win. But, when they go to 18, it's going to get even dumber.
Yeah.
We're going to have to watch bad teams for longer. But,
Correct. So.
And good teams are probably going to, suffer an unnecessary injury or two that probably changes their fortunes in the playoffs.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's a mess right now. I'll pull up the playoff standings just because. Why not? Let's look at this garbage playoff picture here. So right now, so nobody has clinched anything. Again, we're starting to get into next week. You can start to see teams start to clinch bit by bit. I hope he gets it too. But Chiefs and Lions, they're sitting at 10 wins apiece, 10-1. They're doing fine. Got the Bills and Eagles at 9-2. The Steelers at 8-3. Seahawks at 6-5. They're third. Texans 7-5. Falcons at 6-5 at fourth. Then we start getting down here. Look at this jump. So Chargers 7-3. They got to play tonight, obviously. And the Ravens are 7-4. They got to play tonight. The Vikings are 9-2. They're fifth. The Packers are 8-3. They're sixth. Washington's still holding on to a wild card spot at 7-5. And the Broncos are number 7 at 7-5. So after that, 5-6. Dolphins, they're starting to look good. I shouted them out after they beat the Raiders because their offense looked good. The Patriots came back for a hot second, but took care of business again. Dolphins are definitely kind of on a hot streak, which of course terrifies me because they have to do it right before they play the Packers because of course. But it's going to be a wild finish. The Buccaneers, they're still in it. They need the Falcons to drop a couple of games because they swept them. So Rams, they're still in it. But yeah, literally every single team, no team has been eliminated. He said something on Twitter. He's just like, it was aggressive. No. I think looking at, you're muted. Yeah, I was like,
I hopped the loogie. I was going to say, I did see that.
Yeah, we're
and I hope Alex never hears that I call him anal zone, because if he's got a problem with Baker doing this, he's going to hate me. And I love that man.
That's it. No, Rick, I had to do the Daniel Jones video instead.
I muted myself. But yes, I was chiming in a little bit. I was like, is he ignoring me?
Mm-hmm.
Is Tommy ignoring me?
Yeah, I just didn't hear a word he said. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the Giants still in.
They are still in. I think they're going to be the first team to be eliminated. I think they're going to have it.
Yeah.
And then again, it's a divisional game. Who knows what the hell this Thursday is going to bring?
The Giants need the Jags to win. They need the Jags to win.
The Seahawks are very up and down. They're not consistent. So I think that while they could win the division, I'm not super sold on them. So unless they have like those crazy games where the run game is working, Geno Smith is playing well, the offensive line is not allowing him to die back there. I think they need a few more guys up front. And they just got to be more consistent on offense.
Yeah.
Because that's been the problem.
Mike McDonald's got their defense playing well again. I guess you can trust in that.
Mm-hmm.
Lean on Kenneth Walker. That's my advice.
Yeah. I would not. If Saquon wins MVP, I think Shane should be fired just for that alone. Just for that alone. But I don't know if they're going to be replacing their GM in New Jersey. Already doing one. So there's already another opening.
Bring in Joe Douglas.
Yeah, exactly. Go get Joe Douglas. So this is, remember we talked about this weeks ago because I brought it up to you, Perna, and I said, what happens when the Jets are out of the playoffs or they're about to be out of the playoffs? What the hell do you do with Aaron Rodgers? And this past weekend, we kind of got a big old news dump. I think it was Rossini who was talking about this, right? Had that story about what do you do? And like, there's been injuries, but it's very vague. They want Rodgers to go get tested. And he's like, no, I'm fine. I can do it. So it's like intentionally vague. And it's like, is it serious? Is it not serious? But either way, I would be shocked if Aaron Rodgers finishes the season. I honestly
know what his injuries are. Being an old ass man trying to play quarterback in the NFL.
There you go.
He's not going to be healthy ever again. He's going to have a knee thing, a hamstring thing, an ankle. It's just going to happen. They can't lean on that as an excuse right now either.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to a little bit. Rodgers been playing through injuries. Yeah, it still fucking sucks. He's been okay, but the Jets suck.
The Jets are terrible. Yeah.
I don't know what they do. I don't know if those rumors are true. Because there was one thing about like, what do they do with them? And then also Rodgers wants to play next year, but not with the Jets. So you're like, I hope that second one's true because it's chaos.
Dude, I legit. This is a legitimate question, and I want a real answer. And Saad, we're going to see tonight against Justin Herbert. This will be a really good test for that Ravens defense and see if there's any adjustments. What team, and I'm not even being facetious or trying to be a douche, what team, after seeing what Aaron Rodgers and company did this year, goes, yep, I want him?
The Giants.
Do they? But that's what I'm saying. It has to be a somewhat contending team.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Giants, you're out.
Giants, like, I see some stuff he's doing is pretty nice.
Can't be it. Just the Barkley.
No, I don't know. I think it was Pro Football Talk put out a poll that 18,000 people voted on saying, would you want Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback of your team next year if he was available? I think 6% said yes. 6.
And again,
or 9, 6 or 9, something like that. But
dude, like that's
no, there's nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it's not even saying that he's not an upgrade over a couple quarterbacks right now. It's just everything that comes with Rodgers at this moment in his career.
Mm-hmm.
But for what it's worth, Devontae Adams this week on K Adams show said, I feel like I at least have hope here with the Jets. I did not feel that with the Raiders. I feel bad for Raiders fans here on that. Like, he goes to a terrible organization right now. He's like, still better than the Raiders. So I don't know.
Oh God, no, Jason. Oh, God, no. Absolutely not. Not in any shot. 16 regular season starts per player with 18 games. Disgusting. So we're going to see 2 games with just like a mix of backups and stuff. No, please, God, no. Please, no.
Yeah.
Please, please, no. Please.
18 game season, 10 bye weeks. That's how you do it. NFL goes from September.
No, they can't.
April. Super Bowl's in April. Draft is in May. Free agency's in June. NFL dominates the entire calendar year.
I just checked, and I'm not seeing any way that they can clinch this week. So cannot do that. I mean, I think Scooter's up and down, right? Because Scooter's like, all right, we're tanking. We're going to get great draft pick. And then they win. And so I don't know if there's going to be a lot of hope for them. I think that might be it. Might be it. So I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough, crazy way to end it. But like back to Rodgers, though, he's still a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think he's great at the moment.
No.
I don't know who's a contender that you swap out the quarterback, because like the Vikings are the joke, right? Because gonna fulfill the Favre legacy prophecy. You gotta do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I see what you got in JJ. I mean, I understand, but
yeah, you got a rook.
You got one. I mean, he could sit for another year, but Hawks win the next 2 games. They're playing the Jets and the Cardinals. They probably will win against the Jets. Cardinals, who knows which Seahawks team's going to show up? And they got the Packers, the Vikings, the Bears, the Rams. Oof. So, dude, but yeah, Saquon for MVP. Let's go. Let's get it. I'm curious to see how Derrick Henry's going to play tonight. So we'll see. Then we go. Then we just got to allegedly
do it while in New York, or it doesn't count.
That's true too.
But he doesn't watch porn. He's not into that.
That's what he has said. So that's what he said.
Me? I don't even watch porn.
No. All right, Perna, I'll let you just conserve your voice. Tonight, we got the Har Bowl. We got it. What do you got winning tonight?
The Ravens, because they were cursed, or the Chargers were cursed. Mm-hmm. I'm literally defaulting to that as
That's fair. Edge. I think the Ravens, I'm not confident in any way, shape, or form. No. It depends on what Chargers team shows up then too. So yeah. I think Dable is a good coach. I think he's a good coach. Taking that team, again, a lot of it was Saquon that year, but taking that team and winning a playoff game with Daniel Jones, he deserves some credit for that. So
I don't think Dable's the issue.
No. But we'll see. It should be a really good game tonight. I'm excited for it. It should be dope. Perna, what do you got coming out today, buddy?
Just go watch the Broncos recap.
There you go.
What did I call that? I don't fucking know.
Death is what you're calling that, because that's just I'm good. Today, if the NFL is scripted, week 12 will be dropping. That's going to be a crazy time. That'll come out later tonight, streaming tonight as well, and then every NFL fan's reaction to week 12 will be dropping after the game. So we go. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you folks. Don't forget, we're a podcast. I know a bunch of you tagged us on social media. Appreciate you tuning in. Rock and roll. Nice. Drop a review. But folks, thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you later. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you have been navigated.
And you have reached your destination.
Go.